Hello everybody, so in this video I'm going to teach you how to mix big cinematic drums. You get the idea. But right before we get into that, I would like to talk about my Black Friday sales. So the course I created with Master the Score is on sale. So this is my latest course and it covers all kinds of orchestral mixing. So all the subgenres of cinematic music, there is a fundamentals part, which kind of covers all the important topics. Then we talk about mixing individual instruments, sound design, hybrid stuff, live orchestra, it really covers everything. So if you want a really complete course with over 17 hours of video content, just go for this one, guys. And it's on sale 35% off. Now, if you're looking for a course that's a bit more trailer focused, I have all my legacy courses. So these are a bit older, but I also bundled all my mix deconstructions for 50% off. So it's a pretty good value as well. Now, if you want a more generalistic approach to orchestral music, something that's newer and more like all-rounded, I would still recommend getting this one, guys. But of course, there is a lot of content here, a lot of value as well. So I hope you like it, and let's get back to the video. Yeah. I made some videos on how to clean up and compress big drums before, but in this one, I really want to go into the layering aspect of it and how you can EQ things differently to make the layers work together. Now, this kind of big cinematic taiko or tom drum is not supposed to be the most punchy thing of all time, especially in this kind of context here. It's supposed to be kind of like an orchestral bass drum, so in the back and really big, but not necessarily the most aggressive thing. At least for this particular track, I just wanted them to be a bit cleaner than what it was by default, but not to make the most hardcore trailer drum. That's not the goal of this video. So there is two layers. There is this one here. And then there is this one. Now this is without processing. And this is with. So when you have a bunch of big drums like that, which are kind of full range, you need to make some decisions when it comes to the layering. So which drum is going to be the lowest and which drum is going to be kind of the secondary support layer to it, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the bass. So let me show you this layer here, which is the secondary one. So this is without the EQ. So what happens is that we have a lot of bass. As you can see here, there was a bunch of 40 Hz. And it's more like you feel it. It's not very punchy. It's more like a constant rumble, but it actually takes away a lot of the cleanliness of the punch of the other drum. And these drums are already kind of muddy, that's kind of their style. So that's why cleaning up the bass is so important. So I would be careful. Just below 100 Hz, I would start filtering the secondary layers and make sure that you decide which layer is the best and the cleanest and the nicest, at least, for the sub area. So in that case, it's this one. It just sounded the punchiest and the fullest. It's not very punchy, but it's full, at least, fuller than this one was. Now, when it comes to the rest of the frequencies, so the mids and the highs, it's more like how to clean them up. Generally, you need to clean them up a little bit, especially in the low-mid region. But it's more like how do I clean this up without making them thin and lifeless. So if we take both layers, alright, it's a little bit mid-rangey and muddy without the EQs. There is also a part of personal preference to this, but at least for my taste, it was a bit too cardboardy sounding in the mids. So, but I would say the complementarity part of the layers really comes from the bass, because that's where I have the most conflicts. Now, when it comes to the other frequencies and the actual levels of the drums, it's a bit more up to your taste. So in that case, what I did is that I made this one the main one. and then I balanced this one while listening to the first one. So it's roughly the same level, but this one has a very little amounts of bass compared to this one. But it adds a little texture, right? So that's why you want that layer. Now, so when it comes to the low mids of drums, I don't really think as much in complementarity. Like I don't think about how can the low mids of this complement this one. It's more like how do I make both of them sound good and not too cardboardy and muddy, but also not too unnatural. Because of course, if you just take a drum and you cut all the mids, it's also bad. Like you lose actually a lot of the room feeling and the distance feeling, and it just sounds a bit wimpy. So if I just, make a quick horrible EQ here and I copy it to this one as well, you will see that it sounds a bit fake. Right, you lose a lot of the size. It's just like it becomes tiny, right? It's clean, but it's tiny. So it's a balance game. So what I would do is I would basically try to cut the low mids if you feel like there is too much, and listen and compare with and without your EQ, or at least with and without your EQ cuts, and see what you prefer. See if you prefer it without the EQ. If you feel like, maybe without the EQ, there's actually a nice size to it, a nice feel to it, and you kind of regret cutting the mids, and it means you probably went too far, So I would listen in context, because of course in solo it's different. Like in solo everything sounds good, right? Because there is nothing to clash with the drums. So it's fine, but in context you might feel like, okay, if I cut the mids a little bit, I'm going to get more power and a cleaner sound. So, and then for the highs it depends, okay, what do you want to hear more of? So this doesn't really have much highs. This has a bit more like textured highs and a bit more explosive highs, so I like it. So I just enhance the highs a little bit. This one as well, actually, but it's still a bit less explosive. Right, so really the key when layering is figuring out the bass, at least for these types of drums. Figure out which drum should dominate the bass, and then just try to make them coexist. You can see that there is a lot of mid cuts in this one, just because it was way too muddy. Again, need to see in context for this kind of thing. Alright, if you listen to this spot here, it's just a bit cluttered. So guys, I hope it helped. And yeah, so when it comes to layering these drums, it's fine. You can layer these types of big drums on top of each other. It's actually good. It can add the complementary texture. Just make sure that you control what's in the bass, and you kind of make sure that you select the best one. And then when it comes to the other layers, I would recommend balancing their volume while you're listening to the main layer. So start with the main layer on, turn this down, turn the secondary layer down, and just pull it up in volume and until it sounds good, And make sure that this layer is also not going to add more mud or add more negative elements. It needs to complement the first layer, so it shouldn't fight with the sub definition. It shouldn't really add more muddy low mid. It should help add a different texture, but not in a negative way. So guys, that's about it. I hope you liked the video, and I will see you later. Bye bye!